Michelle, thank you for the introduction, and also can I extend my gratitude to Captain Subrama for allowing us to participate in this webinar today, and greetings to my good friend Patrick Verhoeven, and also Aranda in the Solomon Islands. It's great to have a fellow member of Oceania here talking about the work that's happening in this region. When I took over a number of years ago, back in 2017, in this role at Ports Australia, what I saw from the outset was great initiatives. And just bear with me for 1 second. I'll try to see if I can get this the slides to move for me. What I saw was a real need around the country. Thank you. I saw a real need around the country to try to bring together the great work that was being done. As you can see by that diagram, we've got 45 ports right around the country, an area spanning over 35,000 kilometres of coastline. So a significant challenge. 75–80% of those ports are state-owned. Some are in the hands of one political party, other states, other ports are in the hands of another political party. So a completely different political approach right across the country. And of course, what you can see on that diagram is that there are those that
Mike, are you sharing your screen? Because
yes,
we don't see anything.
Okay, let me just find out why that's not working. Hang on 1 second. Let me just see. Now, how's that? Is that better?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, my apologies. When the pressure was on, I just wasn't up for it. So, my thanks to my staff, but also your patience. As you can see by that diagram, that gives you a sort of an indication to the extent of the challenge that we have here in Ports Australia, given that, as I said, 35,000 kilometres of coastline, looking at all those ports, some are in capital cities, container ports ostensibly. In amongst that, you have regional ports with regional communities, particularly along the east coast of Australia, through Queensland, New South Wales, down into Victoria, Tasmania and South Australia. And then you head over to WA and of course right up into the Northern Territory, where particularly in Western Australia, isolation is order of the day. Access to the same quality of information readily available to you is not clearly there as it would be in a capital city. The enthusiasm of the members is there, but access to the information is critical. So for that reason, we bring them all together in what we call our working group. We bring all of our sustainability people from right around the country, and together they share that knowledge. Now, the good news is, and Aranda is aware of this, and so too is Patrick, we saw at Ports Australia a real need to broaden our relationship across the region, across Oceania, particularly through the working groups. Whether you're working in the Solomon Islands, whether you're working in Fiji, whether you're working in Port Hedland, right across the region, there's all this knowledge, experience and enthusiasm for sustainability issues, for environmental programs. And what we've done is invited members of Pacific Nation ports and indeed also New Zealand ports to join us in Ports Australia as international members, to bring them into the working groups to share that knowledge. So when I took over, what I saw right around all of those ports that you're looking at was a considerable investment indeed in regards to sustainability projects, but there was no cohesion. There was no real understanding of what each other was doing, and there was no basic guidelines or premise upon which each of the ports started to focus in on their sustainability issues. They were all well-meaning. They all, in many instances, relied on significant investment, and there was an expertise with regards to their membership, their sustainability experts that work for the ports. But what we really wanted to do was to showcase what they had done and to use that as a measure to encourage them to do more. To simply say that, oh, well, we've done sustainability, that's it. No, that wasn't good enough. This was the start of a journey that had no end. but what we needed to do was bring it all together and bring it all together in one model. And that's what we sought to do. Now, I'm still having troubles with this for some reason. I'm not quite sure why that's not working the way it is. There it is. So in the initial format that you'll see there is what we refer to as our Port and Sustainable Australia report. And that was designed to capture all of these projects from around the country that had been the subject of significant investment and enthusiasm by ports in the last couple of years prior to this publication. We brought it all together, and it was in effect the entree. We were very fortunate that we had access to the enthusiasm of our port sustainability and environment working group personnel from across the country, but we also had an industry expert in sustainability known to many of you, I suspect, Jason Sprott, who also came on board to teach us and to lead us and to show us what was happening in other parts of the world. Now, we recognise that we are not Europe, and Europe is not Southeast Asia, and it's not Oceania. And there are different pressures and different expectations. But what we didn't want to do was create an environment where smaller ports, not wealthy ports, felt that they were being left behind and therefore just gave it away. What we sought to do was create an environment where everyone had something to give in the development of this report and the subsequent sustainability hub that we have put together, which is now available on the website, which, not dissimilar to what Patrick has just outlined with the World Port Sustainability Program, does give our ports an opportunity through the hub to showcase the sustainability projects that they're on. They're not all environmental. We don't want them all being just environmental. We want them to look at the United Nations sustainability goals and to start to collectively bring them all together and work out what is in their environment, what is important to their stakeholders, and what they can actually achieve given the restraints that they may well have, be it isolation, as I alluded to earlier, be it a limited budget, but most certainly be it not be enthusiasm for it. It was the entree that led to this work, the work that I'm going to showcase to you today or tonight, wherever you are in the world, is the Port Sustainability Strategic Development Guide. This guide, and I again congratulate all of our working group people together with Jason, who has been on this journey with us. We let them get a taste of what it was going to be like in the report. They all wanted to showcase what they've done. Then we sat down and said, okay, how can we actually put together a development guideline framework that we can all start to look across the country, recognizing that it can be right fit for each individual port's requirements, but to give them an understanding of best practice, but also to develop a document that can be built upon. So this document could in fact be lifted from Ports Australia, and that's it here. It could be lifted from Ports Australia and built upon in a European context, or indeed in any other business context, with people looking to developing a nationally consistent guideline across their industry. How do we take everybody with us, and how do we make them feel and believe that they are part of this journey with us? That's exactly what we believe we've achieved here. I understand in discussions I've had with Patrick and others, there is nothing like it elsewhere. Now, I don't say it is the penultimate document, but what I am saying, it is robust and strong enough to provide a baseline for people to start to build their sustainability projects into the future, and to build on the sustainability work that they're currently doing by looking across the recommendations that we have in this document here. You'll see here, it does provide a strategic, systematic and robust approach that has been industry applied, not just here in Australia, but also in New Zealand. And I pay my recognition to the New Zealand members who are part of a number of our working groups, but in this case, the Environment Planning and Sustainability Working Group. But it is adaptable to the unique nature of every port business. And that's the key to it. We aren't setting it at the highest level with those ports who are well down the path of sustainability, who have the budget, they have the staff, but they have the pressure on their social license to meet that expectation. what I wanted to do was create a document that everyone felt could apply to them, and they could work through a measure to ensure that they take their staff, they take their stakeholders, they take their community with them, and it is part of their business plan going forward. You can see it here. It is a 4-step process. It is about current status, looking at what you're currently doing, look at the current environment and the projects you have running, what you want to achieve. You need to look at the issues that are important to your stakeholders, be they internal, be they external, and take them with you on this journey. It's not a one-off. They don't interview them once and say, thanks very much for your input, see you later. It's about building that journey relationship. It is absolutely about that. It's about mapping a pathway forward. And of course, it's then communicating the strategy and reporting on it and being honest about it, and constantly going back to your people, be they internally or externally, and letting them know where it is going and have them as part of the journey. We think it does, in fact, work closely with the UN Sustainability Development Goals. We believe it is the best fit for us. It is one that has been modelled on a number of sustainability reports from around the country, and in fact, the most recent one, a port all of you would have in the region have heard of, all of the capital city ports. You'd all be well and truly aware of, you know, New South Wales, NSW ports, Brisbane, etc., and Flinders in Adelaide. But the most recent one for us was Dalrymple Bay up on the far north coast of Queensland. They have brought together business, environment, people and community into a sustainability plan that is going to do them well for the future. It is right-sized. It recognises this is a small coal port in Queensland. They are not one of the big players, but they most certainly recognise their responsibility to their community and the wider community in ensuring that what they are doing, traversing through the Great Barrier Reef, is sustainable and does recognise the important role that they play in so many areas on the United Nations, the sustainability goals. I'll finish on that. I've probably gone over my 10 minutes. I'm very grateful for your patience and forbearance in relation to my inability to work the slides. You can see our website is there. You can get the guide there if you want to download it. Shortly, we will have quite a few hundred mint condition copies of it in a hard copy. So if you're a bit like me and a bit of a Luddite and you'd like to get access to them, please let me know. But be assured, we are very much focused in on what we can do to work with our Oceania neighbours and friends to build sustainability, to build cooperation, and to build a relationship through this part of the world. So thank you very much again for the opportunity to participate.